When did you start Design Homes?
Design Homes was formed in May of 1966, but before that, we had built more than 100 houses doing all the work on site. And because circumstances had changed, they allowed over with movement and things like plywood became more important. We decided we could do some of the work in the factory, so we did less on site. So we formed Design Homes over 50 years ago.
What makes Design Homes so unique?
Well, I think the primary thing is we chose not to sell to a dealer, as everyone else does, but rather sell it to the ultimate consumer. That's to save that extra cost that the dealer would charge. And most of our competitors today buy something real pretty made in Indiana or someplace, and they mark it up and sell it. We choose to build to order and sell everything direct to the ultimate consumer.
What makes a design home such a good value?
Well, I think a number of things, buying in volume, having a great work crew and so on. But one of the things that's kind of unique to us, we found at the end of each year that we would review the service problems of the previous year and do something to make that not happen. An example, one year we found the biggest single problem was because we used the average shingle. And we found out that all those service calls wouldn't have been made there if we used the more expensive shingle. And now we find the more expensive shingle is less expensive than the standard shingle because they don't have the problems, they don't have the service calls, the unhappy people that have to call because their roof shingles are coming loose, and things like that. So annually, we do a review, and after 50 years, we have a house that got better every single year.
What is the advantage of buying a design home versus a home built totally on site?
Well, there's a number of advantages. I think that probably the most important is we can build it better at less cost, and by buying in big quantities and buying good brand name in big quantities, we can have lower total cost. And another thing is, I have been a director of a bank for more than 45 years. And when people use a contractor, they come in with bids, but it usually costs more. And we find that by a design home, there's an absolute fixed cost. With one being done on site using multiple contractors, usually there's a cost overrun, and so banks think that maybe it'll cost 10 or 15% more than the estimates, and it usually does.
Do you have a warranty with your homes?
Yes, we do, and that's one of the advantages. We've had families that have bought 5 or 6 homes with all the children because everybody's happy with them. I think that is kind of a big advantage. As far as service, our competitors often will buy something real pretty made somewhere else and sell it. And every home has some service. There might be a warped cabinet door or something, and we take care of them, and there's no question who is responsible. But the people that buy something out of state and resell it, they'll say, well, we didn't make it. Call them and maybe they'll fix it, maybe they won't. You call them and they'll say, no, the dealer has responsibility. With us, it's no question. We are responsible, and we have a crew of service people very experienced that their goal is to make the customer happy and take care of the problems.
Some of your literature says that you're debt-free. What does this mean for the customer?
Well, it can give them some comfort. Housing varies in volume with lots of things. In our agricultural area that we build homes in, the price of corn impacts the price, and various different things. And there's booms, and then there's times that weren't, that business was slower. And when our goal was to avoid debt, we paid off our debt way back in the 1990s, and so it's very comforting. We had about 10 competitors in 28 and 9. Business was booming, but they had a lot of debt, and they ended up with, many of them went broke and went out of business, and people had paid deposits. Being debt-free gives some comfort to the builders. They know that it's a family company. It's been here over 50 years. It's going to be here, we hope, for another 50 years, and we will not ever borrow money.
What is the normal process of someone coming in to buy a home?
Well, usually the salesperson will tell them, nobody comes in and buys a house quick, nor should they. The house should meet the lot. You have to think of the prevailing wind, the sunshine, the view that you want. And that's why we custom build and we sit down, and it doesn't cost us any more money to put the kitchen in the front or the back or wherever you want it. So people sometimes come with their own plan, and sometimes we say, this is a terrible house plan, you probably could never sell it. But you can look at a plan and say, I can improve this for me by changing room sizes and so on. As we're building the house and dealing directly with the customer, we don't care where you put the kitchen or which room is bigger, which room is smaller. And so the process starts with a proposal that if I build, maybe I'd build this. Well, then you know what that would cost. And you have to know, you want to know what the lot will cost, you want to know what all the other things will cost. And so then you can come down with the order of the home, where big blueprints are drawn and you make all your choices and maybe change them 2 or 3 times, and that's okay, they're done with computer. But we will custom build the house to fit the lot, to fit what you need, what you want, and what will work for resale if you ever choose to sell it.
Do these houses go up in value like a house built totally on site?
They certainly do. We find that usually the appraisal when they're done is about 20% more than you spent. But it's not a gift, you earned it. You had to probably be out there in the yard planting a tree when it's raining, but the end result is the house is worth more than it cost. We had a young couple come to our town about 50 years ago and buy a 1-bath, small, modest home. They were in business in the motor parts business. And pretty soon, with a family growing, they wanted a bigger house with 2 bathrooms. And then the kids are teenagers, they want one big enough. There's a big rec room, and it was kind of the headquarters for the kids in town for a while. And then they love to have a loft house overlooking the Mississippi and Wisconsin River. And when they sold that, they moved to Arizona as retirement, and they came to see us and told me that every house they built, they sold for more money, and their retirement was going to be much better because they had that earnings they made from the houses. And none of that was a gift from us. They earned it. They went to the trouble to pick a lot, pick a floor plan, and have it built. But in the long term, it's a good thing because houses do appreciate in value with inflation. And also, if you have a good plan, they're worth maybe 20% more right when you're done. So it is a good thing to do if you can.
What do you see as trends in home building?
Well, I think that the trend means that everybody wants a pantry today. 10 years ago, they did not. Everybody should have the laundry on the living level because we have an aging population. You may want to sell it and not want the laundry to be in the basement. The houses sometimes are built too big, and that's probably a mistake. I have a design home that's 42 years old. Nobody has slept in 1 bedroom for 38 years because I had a 4-bedroom house. Probably to do over it, I had a 3-bedroom house and let my boys share one for a couple of years. The trend seems to be that they don't really want them bigger, they just want better floor plans and nicer homes that have less heat loss, less property taxes. So it isn't automatic you should build a really big house. There may come a day you find maintenance is too much.
Thanks for taking the time to do this interview, Grandpa. Any final thoughts?
Yes, there are. One thing that we do that we're very proud of, we do not have salespeople that are high pressure, trying to talk you into buying something and buying it now and buying it today. Our salespeople want you to be happy and they want you to buy what you should buy. And so there'll be very low pressure, they'll answer your questions, and they'll give you quotations and the thoughts about what we should not do and do. A new house should have the laundry and the living level. Even though you only want 1 bathroom, you may want to sell it, and some 2 bathrooms are probably pretty important. Today, with the need for a computer room, a lot of people that would have bought a 2-bedroom now probably buy a 3-bedroom, but maybe smaller bedroom. So they do have a guest room, but it's also the computer room. The house should fit what you need and want, and you should take your time to get it, to think of the things that are important to you, but also thoughts of resale. But come and enjoy looking at the new homes, and we welcome you. And if you need a new home, why don't you let Design Homes build it for you?